I remember the first time I saw her. It wasn't dramatic. No slow motion, no music playing in the background like in movies. She was just there, sitting across the room, laughing too loud at something that probably wasn't that funny. But I noticed, not because she was the prettiest girl there, though she was close, but because she seemed like she didn't care who was watching, like she was living in a world that didn't need approval. I like that. We met the way people always do now. A mutual friend, a quick introduction, a half-second handshake that turned into a conversation that lasted longer than either of us expected. Her name felt easy to say, like I'd said it before, and she listened. Not the kind of listening where someone just waits for their turn to talk. Real listening. The kind that makes you feel like your words actually matter. That was new for me. We started texting that night, then every night, then all day. It didn't take long before she became part of my routine. Good morning texts, random memes, late night conversations that drifted into things you don't usually tell people. She made everything feel lighter. I told myself I wasn't catching feelings, but I was. The thing about her was, she never gave too much, but she never gave too little either. Just enough to keep me leaning in. Just enough to make me wonder where I stood. And I hated that I cared. But I did. Weeks turned into months, and somewhere in between, I realized I was the one putting in more effort. I'd double text. I'd wait for replies that came hours later with no explanation. I'd make plans she'd cancel last minute. But somehow I still stayed. Because when we were good, we were really good. She'd look at me like I was the only person in the room, like I mattered more than anything else in that moment. And I believed it. That was my mistake. I started overthinking everything. Why she didn't text back, who she was with, why her energy felt different some days. And every time I tried to bring it up, she'd laugh it off. Why are you overthinking? It's not that deep. But it was, at least to me. I didn't want to be just something casual. I didn't want to feel like I was competing for her attention. But I never said that clearly. Instead, I stayed quiet, hoping she'd just choose me. She didn't. Not really. We had arguments that didn't feel like arguments, more like conversations that never got resolved. Things would get brushed aside instead of fixed. And I kept convincing myself that it would get better, that she'd eventually see what we could be. But deep down, I think I already knew. I just didn't want to admit it. The last time we saw each other, everything felt off. She was there, but not really there. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Her attention drifted. And for the first time, I stopped trying to fix it. I just watched. Watched the way she checked her phone. Watched the way she avoided certain conversations. Watched the way she slowly pulled away without actually leaving. That hurt more than anything, because it meant I wasn't losing her all at once. I was losing her in pieces, and I couldn't stop it. I remember walking away that night, realizing something I should have understood a long time ago. I cared more. And in situations like that, the one who cares more always loses. But here's the part no one ever hears, her side. I knew he liked me the moment we met, not in a cocky way, just, in the way he paid attention. He looked at me like I was important, and I liked that. Maybe more than I should have. At the time, I wasn't looking for anything serious. I had just gotten out of something that drained me, and I promised myself I wouldn't fall into that again. I wanted something easy, something that didn't come with expectations. And he felt safe, too safe. That's the problem no one talks about. Sometimes, when someone is too genuine, too consistent, it scares you more than someone who's unpredictable, because it means they could actually matter. And I wasn't ready for that. I liked talking to him. I liked the attention. I liked knowing that someone chose me so easily. But I didn't want the responsibility that came with choosing him back in the same way. So I stayed in the middle, close enough to keep him, distant enough to protect myself. I knew I was confusing him. I'm not stupid. I saw the double texts. I saw the way his tone changed when I took too long to reply. I heard the things he wasn't saying, but every time I felt like things were getting too real, I pulled back. Not because of him, because of me. Because I knew if I let myself fully fall into it, I wouldn't know how to handle it. And I didn't want to ruin something good by not being ready. So instead, I ruined it slowly, piece by piece. I told myself I wasn't doing anything wrong. We're just talking. It's not that serious. He's overthinking. But the truth was, I knew exactly what I was doing. I just didn't want to face it. There were moments where I almost chose him, moments where I thought, maybe I should just give this a real chance. But fear is loud, louder than logic, louder than feelings. And every time I got close, I took a step back, until stepping back became the only thing I knew how to do. That last night we saw each other, I felt it too. The distance, the shift, the way he stopped trying, and for a second it scared me, because I realized I might actually lose him. But instead of saying something, I stayed quiet, because I didn't know how to ask someone to stay when I wasn't even sure I could give them what they deserved. So I let him walk away. And I told myself it was for the best, that he'd find someone better, someone who didn't hesitate, someone who chose him without fear. But sometimes, late at night, I think about what would have happened if I had just been honest. If I had just said, I'm scared, but I want to try. Maybe things would have been different. Or maybe not. But one thing I know for sure, we weren't the same story. He was ready, and I was still learning how not to run. And that's why we never worked.